of Embassy of Nepal, Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sarad Raj Aran, respectable Councillor of Central Council, Mr. Baba Singh Dhalu, and other Councillor Jackie Taylor. I would also like to welcome our invited guests for being here tonight. Now I would like to invite on the stage the Honorable Mayor of Central Council, Dr. Ann Jaron, respected Councillor Mr. Baba Singh Dhalu, and Ladies Councillor Jackie Taylor, if here. On behalf of Embassy of Nepal, Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sarad Raj Aran, and our President of Lil Bahadur Thapa, to light the traditional lamp to enrollment the ceremony. Vice President of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat, Mrs. Shanti Thapa, for the welcome speech.
Thank you very much, Praveenji. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. सम्पूर्ण उपस्थित आमा बुवा, दाजुभाइ, दिदीबहिनी सहित उपस्थित महानुभावज्यूहरू, नमस्कार. On the behalf of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat, UK, and along with the Embassy of Nepal, I am Shanti Thapa, Vice President of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat, UK. Specially honored and deliver to you a very warm welcome to each of you at this evening conference event, Visit Nepal 2020. I am honored to welcome our chief guest, Mayor of Central Council, Dr. Ann Jaron, and Councillor Mr. Baba Singh Dhalu, and the Nepalese Embassy of Nepal, Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sarad Raj Aran, and Presidents of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat, UK, Mr. Lila Bahadur Thapa, and also Blackhead Councillor, Mr. Thabi Somabina, and Ms. Jackie Taylor, Standard Council, and I think it's the right moment, we are waiting for her, and Mr. Ian Cooper, Mr. Nagi Dayar Singh, Mr. Keval Singh, who is the candidate for MP for the Sandal area. Our Nepalese Temple Guruji Madhusudan Satyalji, Cancer Research Support UK Area Manager Ms. Claire Witton and her team, British Cobra Rifle X Mr. John Laverick, and he is a licensed officer for that one, and Ms. Tina Jackson. And today our another special guest who is recently visited Nepal, Mr. Eddie Owen. He has a beautiful experience visit of Nepal. And Laksha Music Community School Guru and classical music teacher Ustad Pala Upalji. And I would like to also welcome NRNA President Purnam Gurunji. She is not here at this moment now. And NCA President Dadi Acharya, NCA Vice President Ram Prasad Neopane, Saza Nepali Samaj UK President Mahesh Adhikari, General Secretary of NCC Farindra Bhattrai, General Secretary of NCC Govinda Kharel, Galkot Jilla Samaj UK President Raju Karel, Hambo Nepali Samaj Wolverhampton Vice President Bhim Sharma, Nepali Samaj Nottingham President Deepak Sapkota, Srijanshil Lesser Samaj UK President Balram Chapagai, Srijanshil Lesser Samaj UK former Presidents Pasupati Pokhrel, and Srijan Nepali Samaj UK former President Prem Ali Magarju, Gulmi Jilla Samaj UK Executive Member Bhojraj Bhandari Ji, Manakamara Mahila Samaj Birmingham President Devi Sapkota Ji, Srijan Mahila Samaj King Standing Executive Member Srimati Kopila Adhikari Ji, all the cultural performer teams of SNSP, SNBC Innovati Bazaar team, and all the reporters team. And ladies and gentlemen, Bubama, Dajubai, Tatha Didi Benyaru. Dear all respective guests, I would like to thank you and appreciate to all of you to giving your valuable time of your busy schedule, and accept this invitation means it's a proof of your love and constant support for our Nepalese country and Nepalese people. Thank you very much. Today, especially the Embassy of Nepal, His Excellency Dr. Durabahadur Subedi should open the conference together with us. But unfortunately, His Excellency family emergency back home. His father-in-law passed away from us, so that he had to live in emergency back to Nepal. And he sent a sorry note for all of welcoming guests. But right now, we have the Embassy of Nepal Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sarad Raj Aaron with us, behalf of the Embassy Nepal. Thank you, Sarad sir. Now we are here tonight to promote Nepal Tourism Year Visit Nepal 2020 to make successful year. We all know Nepal and Britain has a very powerful friendship relation between two countries, and Nepalese Gorkha Army have been part of the British Army for almost 200 years, called Gorkha Brigade. And also we have United Mission to Nepal Hospital Charity Trust working together, both countries for medical base, and both countries working for taking Nepal-Britain tie to the highest level of culture, community and the tourism business since many years. And of course, this event will give you more supports to give a best memorable holiday experience to Nepal with the trekking for the Nepal highest mountain peak, rafting, bungee jump, beautiful pagoda hand art adventure tour in the beautiful city of Kathmandu, and which will give you a perfect holiday destination. Once again, thank you very much for joining with us tonight, and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice President Mrs. Jayanti Thapa, for your welcome speech. Now, may I please request to our Shanti Nepali Samaj Naumati Baja team to present Nepalese traditional band by Mr. Naran Budathoki and his entire team.
Before I move on to the presentation, please do let me clarify that obviously at a time when the world is fighting against an epidemic like coronavirus, we do not encourage, neither it is like advisable to travel to any part of the world. So this is not just Visit Nepal 2020, but this is more like Visit Nepal kind of presentation. So do feel free to visit Nepal whenever it is convenient and safer for you to. Now, before I move on to this presentation, I just want to kind of briefly introduce you to the history of tourism in Nepal as well. So Nepal, the Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal, a very small country with 29 million population, and Nepalese is the national language. English is widely spoken in tourism and trade industry, and it's a mostly Hindu and Buddhist population in Nepal, but there's a lot of religious tolerance and we celebrate lots of different religion and faith in Nepal. Moving swiftly on, before 1955, that's when the democracy came in Nepal, we had no tourism, as in we had autocratic Rana regime in Nepal, so Nepal was not open for tourism until 1955. So the only first thing that ever happened in Nepal before 1955 in the context of tourism was 1953, which was the first successful ascent of Mount Everest by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa. Yeah? And then in mid-1950s and 1960s, this guy Tony Hagen, who was sent from Switzerland by Swiss government to Nepal as a technical assistant, he was a geologist in the team, and then he spent a decade, 10 years in Nepal working for United Nations as an UN expert. So he was doing surveying, geological and geographical fieldwork in Nepal. So in 1960, Tony Hagen was the person who knew a lot about Nepal in terms of diversity and its landscape. He not only introduced Nepal to outside world, but he was the one to introduce Nepal to Nepalese. So if you are really interested into academic side of Nepalese tourism, you can look at his documentary, find his books. So that is Tony Hagen. And then these are the photographs I stole from Tony Hagen's book, Colorful Photographs in 1950s. So this is an evidence how beautiful Nepal was from 1950s early days. There are more pictures. If you look into Tony Hagen's books, you'll find those pictures. Moving swiftly on to 1960s, very, very beautiful time. So in 1960s, there was a thing called hippie trail. So young, like countercultural hippies from London, they would travel to Istanbul, and then they would go to Iran, and then Afghanistan, and then Pakistan to New Delhi, and then they would come to a paradise called Kathmandu. So Kathmandu in 1962 was a hippie's paradise. At that time, very interesting, hash, marijuana, cannabis was legal in Nepal, right? So coming to Kathmandu was the coolest thing in 1960s. So Bob Seger, so he was a pop artist in 1960s. So he wrote this song called Kathmandu. You can find this song called Kathmandu. He says that if you would ever get out of this place, it would be Kathmandu. So for young counter hippies, countercultural hippies, going to Kathmandu was the coolest thing in 1962s. But sadly, this hippie trail, this hippie's paradise, this had to end. Three things happened in 1970s. First thing, President Richard Nixon in United States, he started war on drugs. So cannabis had to be criminalized in Nepal. Secondly, obviously there was neoliberal economic and cultural transformation. These hippies had to be serious about university education, family life. And then thirdly, Soviet Union attacked on Afghanistan. So all this hippie trail had to end. And then there was a massive change in Nepalese tourism. Post-1973, cannabis was made illegal, so Nepalese tourism was all about ecotourism, cultural tourism, and then adventure tourism. So this is a modern day tourism. So in modern day tourism, we have trekking is one of the most popular thing, and without a shadow of a doubt, trekking is the most popular thing. The best trekking trails in the world is definitely in Nepal. It's because of the versatility of the trekking trails. Right? Now the Everest base camp is obviously popular and challenging, but more than that, we have more trails to offer. Dolpo, if you want to go and see pristine Sifoksundo Lake, hidden valleys and yak caravans, that's the place you go. Dolpo is the upper region of Dolpa district in Nepal. And then you have Upper Mustang. If you really want to see the Tibetan lifestyle and meet real mountain peoples, that's where you go, Upper Mustang. Couple of years ago, this was a restricted zone, but now it has been open for tourism. Interestingly, now rhododendron is the national flower of Nepal. In springtime, if you really want to see these colorful hills, you go to Sangkhuasava, Terathum, and then this place is also popular for scintillating sunrise and sunsets, very beautiful mountains. Now, this is very self-explanatory. Why would someone go to Manaslu circuit? Very pristine, untouched, unexplored. The way of life hasn't changed in many years. So you go to Manaslu if you want to see something like that, yaks, and that way of life. Moving swiftly on, now we have Jomsung and Muktinath. Muktinath is a temple in the highest altitude, very famous pilgrimage site for Hindus and Buddhists. And this is the place, if you want to achieve nirvana or meditate in a very high altitude, you should go to Muktinath. And then Annapurna Circuit is voted as the best trekking place in the world. So whether it be for 3 days or 3 weeks, it has a lot to offer in terms of trekking trails, diversity and variety. See, it's not just trekking. Obviously trekking is quite popular in Nepal. We also have other advanced activities. Now, these are some of the ones I have selected. The list is never ending. But the most popular ones is mountain biking. Obviously in a mountainous country, the opportunity for mountain biking, there are endless opportunities. Now, if you look at rafting, obviously we have the best rivers in the world for rafting. And also we have a very ever-growing kayaking community. So if you are interested into kayaking, definitely Nepal is one of the most popular places. For skydiving, what's the difference between skydiving in Nepal and other countries? The beauty of skydiving in Nepal is that you can have a spectacular 360-degree views of Himalayas. That's very rare in other countries. Now this is called canyoning. So it's like a natural water theme park. We have from basic to extreme level of waterfalls in Nepal, especially in Chitwan and many other districts. Bungee jumping. There's this place called Gotekosi, right? Between thick jungles on 160 meter high up, there's a breeze, and then below there is like a fast flowing river. Now imagine a free fall from 160 meter high up between thick jungles, just above like fast flowing river. This is a fantastic experience, Gotekosi in the world. Now, paragliding. Paragliding in Nepal is about being on top of pristine lakes, next to beautiful mountains and Himalayas. So probably Pokhara would be one of the best destinations in the world for paragliding. Now, if you are not into physical activities, definitely we have something more peaceful to offer as well. Vipassana. Vipassana is a meditation technique which was rediscovered by Gautam Buddha 2500 years ago. Now, in many districts of Nepal, including Kathmandu, many cities like Chitwan, the Vipassana is offered. But in fact, even in Lumbini, which is the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, you can have meditation lessons, right? 10 days meditation programs like Vipassana. If it is good for Gautam Buddha, definitely it should be good for most of us in terms of meditation. Now, it's not just mountains, it's also about architecture and arts in Nepal. Nepal, Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, these are the cities of temples, ancient, medieval architecture and stuff like that. And if you are really serious about architecture, I recommend you go to Janakpur as well. Now this place is connected with the Hindu mythology, right? Lots of interesting artistic features in Janakpur. Now, Nepal is not just about mountains and architecture, it is also about people and culture. We have so many ethnic groups, probably more than 123 ethnic groups. With so many ethnic groups comes really many gods and goddesses, which means lots of festivals, which means lots of celebrations. So pretty much every week, every month we have something to celebrate. And it is completely normal in Nepal for people to get excited and make a crowd like this, right? So there's a lot of insight to get from here. And if you do visit temples in Nepal, you find astrologers, like they are very much into Vedic astrology. So do make sure you make them read your palm. Palm reading means they can tell your future as well. Very interesting things like astrology in Nepal. Now wildlife. Nepal only holds 0.1% of land mass in the entire world, but we are home to 8% of the bird species, which is 848 species, and then we hold 4% of mammals. 0.1% of land mass, but 8% of birds, and then 4% of mammals, which is very extraordinary for wildlife lovers. Now, For jungle safari, definitely Nepal would be one of the best places in the world. And this is 1961 when Queen Elizabeth went to Nepal for jungle safari. But sadly, she went to Kathmandu. She should have gone to Chitwan National Park, which is even better. So if it is good for Queen Elizabeth, definitely jungle safari would be fantastic for anyone in the world. Now if you're scared of elephant, you could have a boat safari, you could have an open jeep safari. So there are a lot of variety of options in Nepal for that. In terms of wildlife, you have one-horned rhino, you have Bengal tiger. These are endangered species, only found in Nepal and very other few places. Now, if you do go to these jungles, definitely you should catch up with villagers. They have a lot to share in terms of their farming experience, cultivation, cattle, and how they have spent their life. They spend their life using no more than natural resources. Very simplistic way of life, and I think it is very insightful as well. See, now, it's a mountainous country, Himalayan country, it's a developing country, but you don't have to compromise on your comfort. Nepal has a very fantastic resorts in many tourist destinations. Also, in terms of practicalities, obviously I haven't mentioned in this presentation, the flight to Nepal costs anywhere between £400 to £700, I would say. It may cost more, like expensive if you buy in, didn't buy from the right place or didn't buy in the right season. But it is possible to get a return flight from £400. In terms of weather, for trekking, I would say mid-September to mid-December would be a fantastic place for a time for trekking because of dry weather and then like visible skies. So this guy is John Wood. So John Wood was an executive at Microsoft, and then he decided to go on a small vacation in Nepal, which was meant to be a small trekking vacation. But then when he came back from trekking from Nepal, he quit his job at Microsoft. It was a spiritual journey for him. He started taking books all the way to Himalayas. So there are so many hundreds of stories like this. What I want to say is, if you are stuck in any kind of business decision, or if you want to kind of have a career change, if you're not sure about life, if you want some sort of change in life, definitely Nepal has the answer to you for self-discovery. And in summary, like these are Himalayan countries. Gautam Buddha was born there. Many gods and rishis have meditated for thousands of years in those Himalayas. So the purity that Nepal's landscapes retains has a very spiritual energy to offer. And even witnessing these landscapes could be a life-changing experience for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pawan. And I hope you are enjoying the event so far. Now, may I please invite on the stage, on behalf of Embassy of Nepal, Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sharad Raj Anand, and the President of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat, Mr. Lilabahadur Thapa, to honor our Chief Guest, Honorable Mayor of Sandol Council, Dr. N. Jaron, and the respectable Councillor, Mr. Baba Singh Dhalu and Jackie Taylor.
Deputy Ambassador, honourable guests, thank you very much. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great honour for Sandwell to hold this Nepali cultural event. I'm so glad you've come here and thank you so much for inviting me. What do I know about Nepal? Well, a little bit, not a huge amount. Nepal was never a British colony, but there's always been a special relationship for over 200 years. I think we should be very proud of this and celebrate it. And this is probably best exemplified by the relationship with the British Army, in particular the international revered Gurkhas. In those 200 years, Nepalese Gurkhas have served with the British Army in many battles, and most notably in the two terrible world wars of the last century. They were awarded numerous medals, including the 13 Victoria Crosses. Their reputation for discipline, skill and bravery is well known all over the world. Nepal is a country quite big actually, 800 miles long, 200 miles wide, and includes a huge range of geography, rising from the Terai in the south, the grasslands and the rice fields, including the stunning Chitwan National Park, to the highest peaks of the Himalaya. 8 out of the 10 highest mountains in the world are at least partly in Nepal. And this, of course, includes the famous Sagarmatha, usually known as Everest. That's 8,488 meters. It's huge, it's enormous. It was my great pleasure to visit Nepal on 2 occasions. This is quite some time ago. I was so happy to land finally in Kathmandu. I practically skipped across the tarmac, collected my backpack, and headed off to the Tamil district. This was the backpackers region. Not the most salubrious, but absolutely great fun. I really was happy. I arrived just before Diwali, trying to get a trekking permit. At that time of the year is not easy, believe me, but I managed to do it and stay for some of the Diwali celebrations. Believe me, they were noisy, but it really was fun, and it was wonderful how we were included in all sorts of things. That was the beginning of a 4-month trip going down from Nepal, India and into Sri Lanka. We had a few days in Kathmandu and in the area. I saw some temples, just wandered around the cities, looking at some of the old buildings, just experiencing life in the markets. Went down to Chitwan, again, as you say, absolutely beautiful. We saw loads of animals. We saw, I think, a place that was actually looking at little alligators, forget what they're called. The following day, the driver asked us to go in the river to mark out the spot to drive the truck across because it had rained in the night. I forgot about the alligators we'd seen the day before. Anyway, didn't get bitten. It was a bit difficult, the current was strong, so I had to hang on to a bull cart to get across. That was an adventure, it was stunning, it was beautiful. I'd do it again. As a year later, really wanted to see a bit more of the other end of Nepal, and did with a friend the Annapurna circuit. Annapurna is over 8,000 meters, huge, beautiful mountain with a nice ring around it. It does sort of go from Kathmandu to Pokhara via the high pass of Torunla. That's 5,500 meters, it's about 18,000 feet. It takes your breath away in every way you can imagine, in its beauty, and not least because of the effects of altitude. Above us, however, crows were flying. It's quite staggering how far they go. On that memorable trip, we stayed in villages, were made to feel very welcome. Everything's fairly basic. I don't know how things are now, but I suspect it will still be. However, we still enjoyed the most beautiful countryside. It's difficult. Trekking in December, which is winter, is difficult. At night it falls well below freezing. In the daytime it's warm enough to take a shower, and water is heated by coils of hose pipe in a makeshift little shed. You do get clean. Without knowing each other's languages, we still managed to laugh together. I could go on for some time about that trip. I learned lots. I learned that chickens don't live above 3,000 meters. Yaks do. As you go over the high pass, that's the absolute highlight of the trip. It's quite strenuous because you start at about 4,500, you go 5,500 and then drop down towards Muktinath, stunning temple. And once you've been over the pass, you are so happy to see that temple because you know you've made it. It really was quite a challenge, but it was beautiful. You see small planes coming through the valley. Those pilots must be so skilled because there are wind wafting them around. It's really most incredible places. We did see Mustang Valley, but we could only look at it as tourists because it was closed. We could see the donkey trains, but we were foreigners and we weren't allowed to go in there. You see plenty of large birds. We saw an eagle take a chicken. Believe me, you look above that. Anyway, since those trips almost 30 years ago, Nepal has undergone a number of changes. The first, we must not forget, are the huge political changes. I went to the Kingdom of Nepal. It is now a republic. It wasn't an easy time, we know that. And then just as things are settling politically, what should happen but the most dreadful, dreadful, dreadful earthquake in April 2015. And if that wasn't enough, there was another one of similar magnitude 2 weeks later. I have friends in Kathmandu who were staying there at the time. They gave me their accounts, they showed me their photographs. Ancient buildings reduced to rubble. Lots of people helping each other. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal needs a break. I'm so glad you're here. Everyone should, well, the mountains are still there. It is a stunning place to visit. You will have a good welcome. I hope that Nepal becomes a safe place to do business, for tourism, and again to remember how the Nepali Gurkha army came to our aid when we needed them. Let's hope we can reciprocate, strive for good relations, and thank you once again for your very kind invitation, for listening. I do hope that the Nepali tourist industry really does take off, because there is so much to see that is only available in Nepal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor Dr. Anjaran. Now I would like to request Mr. Eddie On to come on the stage and share his recent experience of Nepal.
Good evening. That's a bit quick. Good evening, everyone. I was a tourist 2 years ago, so I just want to tell you actually what it's about from a tourist point of view, really. First of all, I flew to Kathmandu, which is absolutely fantastic place. You must go to Dunbar Square. You can buy anything there, spices, everything. And you want to go into the shops, because the shops, the aroma you get from the spices, it's just amazing. You can't get it anywhere else. And anywhere else you see all the people making the things. They're absolutely fantastic. And what makes most things, like everything else, is the people. And the people are absolutely fantastic. I went to one, I forget what it was now, but anyway, we invited into this house, and it was absolutely fantastic. All the ladies was doing the cooking, we invited there. The fella, he wasn't very interested, he's more interested in his ubbly bubbly pipe. But there you go. But it was really a fantastic experience. I flew down to the base camp at Annapurna. Unfortunately, my old knees won't take a trek no more, so I had to go to the up to the Annapurna base camp, which was on an helicopter. It was absolutely fantastic, and I had a really good time. And as luck would have it, the weather was great. It was clear blue sky from up to down. So we was there about half an hour, so some very good photographs with the gherkins and what have you. And then went to Picardie, and that's a lovely place. That's where we went to the house, the private house where they took us inside and everything like that. And again, you want to go to some of the temples, they're absolutely marvellous. You can't get them anywhere else, you only get them in Nepal. It's well worth it. It's a long trek to get there, but once you get there, it's very, very well worth it at all. It really is. And then I went to Chitwan National Park. Unfortunately, the tiger wouldn't play ball. The people who went out before me saw 2 tigers, and we didn't see one at all. But there you go. It's just a good excuse to go back there whenever I can. But it really is a marvel. The people make it. No two ways about it. You can buy anything there. Souvenirs are fantastic. The people are very good, and it's all marvellous. And one thing you must do, without question, is have a rickshaw ride around Kathmandu. It really is fantastic. You will not, if you don't do that, you really are missing out this ride around Kathmandu, mate. It's absolutely fantastic. There's no two ways about it. But in all, it was a fantastic holiday. As I say, the people make it, the people absolutely marvellous. And it was all good, and it was a fantastic day. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eddie Odia. Now, I would like to kindly request on behalf of Embassy of Nepal, Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sharad Raj Aaron, to deliver his thank you speech.
Good evening and namaste. The worshipful mayor, respected councillors, President of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and privilege to extend a warm welcome to the worshipful mayor of Sandwell, Dr. Anne Jaron, for accepting the invitations to grace the occasion as a chief guest. I also take this opportunity to welcome you all, our distinguished guests, to this special occasions which has been organized by Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat. I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to President Mr. Lilbahadur Thapa and the executive members of Shanti Nepali Samaj Belayat for their great support to host this ceremony. As I am here to represent the Embassy and His Excellency the Ambassadors, His Excellency the Ambassador he's in Myanmar now. He's out of London due to unavoidable circumstances. Nepal-Britain relationship started 204 years ago in 1816, but we have more than that, the historical relations of the Gorkhas, which has been started from 1814, 2 years before then our diplomatic relations. The United Kingdom occupies a very special place in the hearts of the Nepalese people. We also believe that the British people have similar attachment with Nepal and Nepalese people, which I am lucky to learn the experience shared by worshipful mayor, that she had shared her experience of Visit Nepal. It is also because that Nepalese and British people have a strong faith in the principle of multi-party parliamentary democracy, fundamental freedoms and human rights, as well as value of peace, love, brotherhood and cooperation. the United Kingdom has remained one of the major tourism sources for Nepal. Every year, more than 60,000 people visit from the United Kingdom. The quality and number of tourists from the United Kingdom have become an important and integral part of Nepal's tourism industry. Provided with a historical link and ever-growing people-to-people relations, every year, more than 60,000 people, British people visit Nepal. I am pleased to note that Nepalese diaspora, the size of which is more than 100,000 in the United Kingdom, is active not only for promoting Nepalese language, cultures, and customs, but is also being a vital link to our bilateral relations through their engagement in social, cultural, and commercial affairs in the United Kingdom. They have brought our two cultures and people together. I am happy to see that they have already been an integral part of the mainstream British society. The Nepalese are now a fast-growing community in Great Britain. Nepal is regarded as one of the richest countries in the world in terms of amazing nature and vibrant culture. With its unique geographical position and altitudinal variation, the Nepalese people have always maintained unity in diversity. The international community had acknowledged and appreciated the social coexistence, ethnic tolerance, and religious harmony maintained by the Nepalese people since the immemorial. The 4 World Heritage Sites, 2 from the Cultural Heritage Sites category like Lumbini, the birthplace of Lord Buddha, and the Kathmandu Valley, and 2 from natural category, the Everest and Chiton National Parks, are the attractions of Nepal for the world people. Kumari, the living goddess, is worshipped only in Nepal, which is a cultural wonder and treasure of the country. Having 8 of the highest mountains of the world, including the highest peak Mount Everest, the crown of Himalayas, Nepal has been renowned in the world as the land of mountains. More importantly, Nepalese mountaineers from Mr. Tenzing Norgay Sherpa to Mr. Nirmal Purja have achieved outstanding success and records in the history of mountaineering. Nepal has been a popular destination for tourism. It has been regarded as the best destinations in the world for the mountaineering and trekking. The trekking trails of Nepal are considered as the world's finest one. The amazing trails to the Everest base camp to the Annapurna circuit cannot be seen and experienced anywhere else in the world. Apart from the mountaineering and trekking, Nepal has been popular destinations for adventure tourism, such as jungle safari, rafting, boating, biking, rock climbing, paragliding, ultralight aircraft, hot air ballooning, bungee jumping, jet scooter, and mountain flight, as well as you will have a volunteering opportunity also. We have decided to celebrate this year, 2020, as the Visit Nepal year, but unfortunately, due to the alarming effect of the coronavirus worldwide, which has been spreading, we are not celebrating this year as a Visit Nepal year 2020, but we are celebrating this every year as a Visit Nepal year. We are planning to celebrate every year and moment as a Visit Nepal year. We are informing our well-wishers about Nepal and requesting them to visit Nepal as per their convenience. Nepal is a safe, secure, and most peaceful destinations. No one has been affected by coronavirus as of today. Government of Nepal has taken every serious effort to mitigate it. We are very much concerned on the safety and security of the visitors. So I would like to request you and encourage you all, and through you, your family and friends, to visit Nepal in your convenient time, because you will have the opportunity to find and feel many amazing things in Nepal, which you want to enjoy in your life. That's not my words. That you have been already known about the presentations that which has been presented by Mr. Pawan Kadel, and also you have listened the experience of the worshipful mayor and Mr. Eddie. As it has been mentioned already in the presentations, the cost to visit Nepal is cheap, only one transit. And about the visa, it's very easy that the embassy is issuing visa within 30 minutes. So you will not face any problems to receive the visa. You can check our website, which you can find from the Google also if you type Embassy of Nepal London, and there is a link that from where you can you can download the visa forms, and you can fill it, and with your passports you can send to the embassy, and once we receive the same day that we return back your passport with visa to your destinations. So if you are visiting to London, you can visit to the embassy, and within 30 minutes you can receive the visa. If you are not visiting to the London, then you can send your passports and visa forms through the courier or Royal Mail. Then you can receive your passport very next day. And I think you might have heard some today's news that government of Nepal has decided not to issue the on-arrival visa for the visitors who are arriving from the 5 countries, mainly from the mostly affected coronavirus countries like Iran, like South Korea, China, like that, but not the United Kingdom, but also not to get any hassles. You can receive your visa from the embassy. So let's make your plan to visit Nepal in near futures when the fear and effect of coronavirus will be ended. Let's visit Nepal to see natural beauty, cultural diversity, unity in diversity, social and religious harmony. Let's visit Nepal to meet friendly and hospitable Nepalese people. We have built our relations from more than 204 years, and you are a great well-wishers for the Nepalese people, and also the intimate friends of Nepal. You are helping Nepal at the time of the earthquake, also following the earthquakes that you help us for the reconstructions. You have been engaged for the many charitable works in Nepal, and Nepalese people know you from more than 204 years. So you cannot be compared with the people of the other countries. You are the special one for us, for the Nepalese peoples. We are also following the many systems, like the education system, parliamentary systems, which relates with the British systems. So you are highly regarded in Nepal. Actually, in our tradition and cultures, that the tourists are our guests, and guests are regarded as the god. And more than that, you are the special one. So I would like to urge you and request you that kindly visit Nepal once the problem of the coronavirus is settled and end. You can make your plan probably after these problems, and mostly in 2021. I cannot say that now visit Nepal in 2020, because you have seen the effects of the coronavirus. But you can make the plan. You can encourage your friends and families to visit Nepal in their convenient time, because visiting Nepal in a small place, you can find many things: natural beauty, cultural diversity, affection of the people, smiling of the people, meditations, many things that you can enjoy and feel in Nepal. Also the cuisine of the Nepalese, also the cuisine of Nepal, that many you adore it. I would like to once again welcome you all to this special ceremony and thank all the distinguished guests for making it to this ceremony successful. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Sarad Raj Aran. We have also prepared some entertainment for you. Firstly, we have solo cultural dance by Shiksha Paudel. Song is Hami Nepali, Hamro Nepal.
Welcome to Nepal. Welcome to Nepal.
Visit Nepal 2020. Visit Nepal 2020.
Now we have final performance of this evening, Lakhe Nach, which is also known as the Demon Dance by Vishnu Banjade, Ram Neupane, Baburam Sapkota, Karan Dhamrapal, Mukta Adhikari and Narayan Budathoki. Then last